되고요. 아메리칸 이디언 뭐라고요? 아메리칸 트럼프.
The majority of people in South Korea at one point were pro-Trump, but that all changed last month, and Donald Trump is on his way to Korea this week. And, well, the people, they don't want him here. These photos come from a mutual of mine, yes, in my backyard, tagged below. Let's see what they're doing over there. Yesterday, an anti-Trump protest took place in the streets, and this is just a portion of it.
Donald Trump's visit to South Korea has already been ruined as the people there are giving him the welcome he deserves. Greeted by no Trump protests across the country. Take a look at this. This is everywhere in South Korea right now.
一些韩国民众25日在首尔举行反特朗普示威，示威者主张特朗普向韩方要求3500亿美元的。
We have some major news right now that most media companies aren't talking about, and that's anti-Trump protests have broken out across Seoul, South Korea, and are scheduled to occur over the next week as Donald Trump is in East Asia for the major APEC summit. South Korean authorities are actually ramping up security as there are over 12 anti-Trump protests planned this week because of Donald Trump's tariffs.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Beauty. So today I brought to you this topic because I'm sure a lot of people do not know what is going on in South Korea. There's a heavy protest going on in South Korea. The South Korean citizens have come out massively to protest against Trump. Anyway, I will let you guys to watch this video. We will come back for more talk. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to this channel, like, share, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. We will be back.
아메리칸 이디언 뭐라고요? 아메리칸 트럼프. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you.
No Trump.
한국을 대중국 전쟁에 끌어들이려는 트럼프 시도에 반드시 막아냅시다. 구호로 마무리하겠습니다. 우리는 미국의 머니머신이 아니다. 구역동맹 거부한다. 동맹 협회와는 기만이다. 종속동맹 반대한다. 트럼프와는 반대한다. 전쟁동맹 거부한다.
South Korea erupts in anger. Trump effigy beaten in Seoul. Streets explode. Protesters scream, "Revenge on USA." After US humiliates ally. South Korea protest takes unique turn. Thousands of furious protesters marched in Seoul on Saturday, denouncing the United States. The anti-US rally was organized by the Candlelight Action Group at Gwanghwamun. Crowds shouted slogans like, "Trump leave the earth," and "Let us take revenge on USA." Placards read, "Condemn the United States," and "Dismiss People Power Party immediately." A gate effigy of Donald Trump was struck with toy hammers by angry demonstrators. Attached signs to the effigy demanded, "Cut off diplomatic ties with Washington instantly." One protester said, as a Korean citizen, they felt deeply humiliated by US actions. Another said it was shameful to see Koreans chained and arrested on foreign soil. Demonstrators accused the US of treating Korea as a business target, not an ally. Some warned Washington's arrogance will backfire and lead to global diplomatic isolation. The anger followed return of 300 Korean workers detained recently in United States. They had been arrested at Hyundai's EV battery plant construction site in Georgia. U.S. immigration agents accused the employees of working illegally without proper visa permits. The workers were detained in Atlanta, later released and allowed voluntary return home. A special Korean air charter flight carried them back from Atlanta to Seoul. GSE and SC admitted administrative mistakes while Hyundai issued regret over the scandal.
protests breaking out in Seoul, South Korea, as Donald Trump landed in Malaysia for a trip to Asia, where Donald Trump intends to further embarrass and humiliate the United States and attack our allies. The protest you saw there in South Korea was largely over the fact that Donald Trump is trying to extort South Korea out of $350 billion and says, if you don't pay us, America won't consider you a relying trading partner. And who even knows where that $350 billion is going to, and South Korea is not agreeing to that. Donald Trump, when he arrived in Malaysia, started doing a weird dance in front of the people of Malaysia. It was creepy and strange. It reminds me a lot of the dances that he would do with Jeffrey Epstein back in the 90s and early 2000s. Here, play this clip right here. Then Donald Trump gave a humiliating speech in Malaysia where he started whining about the escalator not working when he was at the United Nations and how his teleprompter didn't work. Again, utterly humiliating. Here, play this clip.
I won't forget that day because it was one of the first wars that I got involved in. And I love doing it. It's like, I shouldn't say it's a hobby because it's so much more serious than a hobby, but it's something that I'm good at, and it's something I love to do. The United Nations should be doing this, but they don't do it. You know, they don't do it. They turned off my teleprompter when I made a speech. I had to make a speech without a teleprompter. They're good at that. The escalator wasn't working too well. It came to a complete halt. But
we got to hear from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent this morning, who was accompanying Donald Trump on this trip to Asia. Bessent reminded everybody that Donald Trump doesn't care what's happening in the United States right now. According to Bessent, he's just focused on what's happening in the Pacific. And just to quote it directly, what's happening in North America is taking second fiddle to Trump's leadership in the Pacific. Here, play this clip.
Whatever is going on back in North America, I think, is they're taking second fiddle to President Trump's leadership out here in the Pacific.
Well, I wouldn't say there's leadership in the Pacific. I would say he's further humiliating and degrading American strength out in the Pacific and further hurting Americans. But I guess issues like the government shutdown, that 20 million Americans are being ripped off of healthcare, that Americans can't afford groceries, that Americans are psychologically tortured living paycheck to paycheck right now. I guess all of that doesn't really matter to the Trump regime. But what did matter is on his trip to Malaysia,
Donald Trump's visit to South Korea has already been ruined as the people there are giving him the welcome he deserves. Now, if you didn't know, Donald Trump is headed to South Korea to meet with the leaders of China and discuss a possible trade deal. But upon Trump's arrival, he is going to be greeted by no Trump protests across the country. Take a look at this. This is everywhere in South Korea right now. No Trump protests, where they're not only protesting Donald Trump, but they're also mocking him. So we're going to have new material for Trump when this is over. But more importantly, they're protesting Donald Trump's negotiation tactics. They don't believe that these are trade negotiations. They believe that Donald Trump is trying to bully their country and essentially steal from them. And they're standing up where their leaders will not. And this is a continuation of what we've seen around the globe, in the UK, in Canada, here in the US. Donald Trump is being greeted exactly the way he should be. And we need to continue this, but then harness this energy and vote next November. But Donald Trump is going to be spitting ketchup later.
What's this? What? You see that? China state controls media. Look at this. This organization is out of Europe, but yes, I suppose they do a lot of Chinese takes, I suppose. But isn't this? I mean, look at it. It's very well organized. Look at all the signs that say no Trump. It's all very uniform. It's like what Trump would like to believe the No Kings rally was like, with printed signs. You know, you go to the printers on that one street, and then they like print out realistic magic marker looking things. Yes, well deduced, sir, I suppose. But wait, let's look at what does this mean? All right, what does this mean? Oh, thank you for answering my question. The government has control over editorial content. Well, okay. All right. Well, this is even if this was just organized by someone and all that, just reporting on it. I mean, you could draw your own conclusion. I don't see the problem with this. I see. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay, company out of Europe with Chinese biases reporting on South Korea. Reporting on the South Korean protest over the American president. Well, all I've got to say is, little baby socialist here. And God forbid anyone in the Deep South in the 80s and 90s ever called me a commie. Because they knew better. Even the Klansmen, because some of them read books. All that to say, I think it's, pretty reasonable, Clock App, that you give me one of these. I want a China state-controlled media little thingy with information on it. Can I have one? Because you probably think I'm a dirty communist, a dirty copy. Which, the first time I got called that, I squealed with a little bit of glee. Because they had no idea what they were talking about, but it was nice to be included. Can I get one? Just let me know. I'll be here. Just let me. I'll make some subversive stuff if you need me to. I mean, actual subversive. Well, yeah, subversive stuff. Just give me a chance. Give me a chance. Okay.
Many in Korea were surprised because our workers who went to the United States to help the US with its manufacturing renaissance received irrational treatment. This has also caused severe trauma for the workers as well, and I've heard that some workers do not want to go back. So, without taking measures to ensure the safety and rational treatment of these workers, there is a high possibility that factory construction in the US may be significantly postponed. These workers are highly trained and talented people, but the experience of being handcuffed and detained in a foreign country is not only traumatic and unbelievable for the workers, but also for their families. Unless we completely resolve this issue, I believe that they will not want to return.
一些韩国民众25日在首尔举行反特朗普示威，示威者主张特朗普向韩方要求3500亿美元的对美投资是强盗一样的行为。
미국의 그런 발언에 대해서 한국을 머니머신으로 생각하고 이런 무리한 요구를 하는 것에 대해 분노해서 이런 트럼프 반대 집회에 나오게 되었습니다.
가까이 온 동맹을 더 뒤통수를 치고 있는 그런 정황이지 않습니까? 결국 미국이라는 존재는 동맹보다도 자신의 이권, 입지 이것만이 중요한.
This is Georgia Governor Brian Kemp.
And I'm First Lady Marty Kemp.
We're excited to be back in Korea to celebrate a 40...
What you meant to say, Brian, is you're here to save a 40-year partnership. Because Korea has yet to send back a single worker to Georgia. And that raid on the Hyundai plant was over 90 days ago now. Georgia, you were so worried about a couple jobs being taken by immigrant workers that now you have no jobs. And I can tell you, I watch the Korean news. They're not coming back. The Korean people are livid, and it is still leading the local and nightly news in Korea every night with the images of their people being shackled and chained and put on those buses. Their best and brightest engineers that you guys thought, oh, I can do this. And this is the story of being a conservative in America, where you always cut off your leg instead of giving somebody else a shoelace. You guys are ruining relationships around the world that will never get back.
Excited to be back in Korea to celebrate a 40-year partnership between the state of Georgia and this great nation.
The governor of Georgia has made 3 diplomatic trips to South Korea since that ICE raid earlier in the summer. After this lady, who, by the way, is running for a House of Reps, cost her district, her constituents, as well as her state thousands of jobs, as well as billions in future investment, the governor of Georgia is basically begging for South Korea as well as Hyundai to bring back investment. And South Koreans did not like their citizens being treated in the way that ICE treated them.
So I got to give you an update on U.S.-Korea relations. And if you've been following the story and following my channel, you'll know that Trump has been trying to extort Korea for $350 billion cash up front. Yes, you heard that correctly. Cash up front, $350 billion. Korea went to the press today on Bloomberg, the English press, so you can hear it for yourselves. Have a listen.
Understand that the U.S. investment fund has been very difficult to agree on the details. And you've told Secretary Bessent about the feasibility of having so much cash up front. Should we be expecting installments in payments then?
Bessent has understood that due to the current state of Korea's foreign exchange market, we cannot pay up front. He understands that. However, regarding how to proceed on this, with negotiations currently underway with the U.S., I ask for your understanding that I cannot yet provide specific details on the plan.
So you heard it for yourself. And the Koreans, to their credit, are polite about it, right? They're trying to like save face and not, act like jerks and be like, dude, you're a bunch of idiots over in the USA. Why are you begging us for cash? But yeah, that's what it is. It's $350 billion cash up front. And it's the first time that they've really openly talked about it on the English speaking news. It's been all over the news in Korea. And if you follow my channel, you'll know this. But yeah, this has been the latest news, right? Trump claims South Korea agreed to pay $350 billion upfront payment. It's like, Trump's just making crap up. So he's trying to extort the money, but he's claiming he's like theoretically already got it. And then he tells all his friends, oh, I'm so rich because look at all this money Korea gave me. But you're literally hearing it from Korea's like, and that's the finance minister like, we just can't give you that much cash. Like it's like, I mean, Trump is basically like the guy who, you know, kidnaps your kids or whatever, calls you on the phone and like some weird voice and it's got, you know, uses the voice filter and is like, I need that cash. I need it right now. Right. And then the other thing that Trump is saying on the other side of his mouth is like, he brags how rich everyone is, right, in USA. It's crazy. The whole thing is crazy.
Conversations that I've been having with the White House is like, how do we address that issue to try to clear this up, make it more streamlined?
Kemp expects to have more of those conversations when he meets with Korean officials during his trip, in addition to courting new companies to Georgia.
Kemp, the governor of Georgia, arrives in Korea today, and he's going to try to beg the Koreans to come back and finish the Hyundai plant. People have been asking me for an update. I'm telling you what it is. He arrives today, and the plan is he's going to go to Korean language press and try to convince the public to forgive him. But you got to at least say sorry, which I don't think he's going to do. Who knows? This is why he's coming. We're going to see it. This is what it says. It says, in an apparent attempt to address negative public sentiment, you think, I'll tell you the truth, guys, Koreans hate the situation over in Georgia. No one wants to go to Georgia. That's the reality. Like, do you want to go to Georgia and get arrested by ICE? Of course not, right? In an apparent attempt to address negative public sentiment stemming from the mass detention of Korean workers in early September at the construction site in the state, Kemp is also scheduled to join a series of interviews with Korean language newspapers, though he repeatedly does not plan to meet any government officials. Interesting. So you're just going to try to play the, you know, make Korean people like you, but you're not going to go on TV. It just says newspapers. I'm curious if he's going to eventually get on TV. We'll see. I mean, the guy maybe won't show his face on TV. I don't know. I mean, that's what it says. Also says here, industry officials expect the governor will apologize for the immigration. Okay, maybe he's going to apologize. We'll see. Or at least express regret over the incident, though skepticism remains that there is little a state government can do in response to federal government policy. So we'll see. Let's listen to more of the situation with the Trump and wanting that cash up front.
Bank of Korea Governor Lee Chang-yong said that the maximum amount that can be raised in dollars annually without market disruptions is $20 billion. Are we looking at around those figures right now?
Yes, the Bank of Korea currently estimates that the maximum amount we can raise without significantly impacting the foreign exchange market is $20 billion.
Okay, and he even said in English, maximum. Okay, they're saying Trump is demanding $350 billion cash up front. Every time I say it, it just sounds so stupid. I feel like I'm Dr. Evil or something. And Korea's like, well, I mean, realistically, 20 billion maximum. That doesn't mean they're actually going to do it, but maximum. And then this is the interesting thing. Look at how the numbers, you know, kind of line up here. U.S. banks are hunting for collateral to back 20 billion Argentinian bailout. So supposedly Trump keeps telling everyone how rich he is and how rich the USA is and how awesome of a business person he is, right? And then you got Besant, who's negotiating with Korea and Argentina at the same time, as you guys see what's going on here. And I think even a child can kind of figure out the, you know, scam that Besant and Trump are running. You guys can see the numbers too, right? Korea's like, maybe the maximum is 20 billion. And then suddenly they start floating this, 20 billion to Argentina. You know, this is just like neighborhood mafia boss robbing, Paul to save Mary or whatever. And then it turns out Mary's sleeping with Johnny and Johnny's also, Paul's cousin or whatever. And it's got this massive, family fight. And then someone always trying to get the grift. And maybe I got my grift wrong on Trump's situation, because in this situation is Trump is trying to get money from Korea, right? Who he thinks has no power, yet Korea has all the money. And then Trump is trying to make buddy-buddy with Argentina, who's like a bottomless black hole who keeps asking for more money. And then you got Scott Bessent, who's got a bunch of buddies who will benefit from Argentina. He's got hedge fund buddies who got, assets exposed down there. You can see what's going on. And then when you see Trump talk about it, listen to Trump talk about this stuff. He acts like they're all rich.
Rich country again. We'll start paying off debt. We'll do a lot of things. We'll probably make a distribution out of some of the tariff money. I think we're going to make a distribution over the next fairly short period of time to the people, because we took in so much money from the tariffs. Just European Union, $650 billion. Japan, $550 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. That's even a lot of money for you guys, right? That's not bad, right? But
yeah, $350 billion. Oh yeah, we got that money, and 500 from Japan. It's like they act like they're so rich, but then literally the money's supposed to be coming from Korea, and you're hearing what Korea says, like, well, maximum 20 billion. That's why this whole thing's a joke. Like when you leave out the international news and you only listen to Trumpers, then you're barely getting any of the story at all. This is why it's important, right? I mean, don't you think it matters? Like, don't just ask the kidnapper. Talk about the people who you're kidnapping, I guess, in this situation.
That lady who called ICE on those South Koreans at the Hyundai plant in Georgia, South Korea responded. Yeah, y'all remember this lady who claimed to call ICE because the union workers couldn't get jobs. They weren't allowing Americans to get jobs. But really, it was just South Koreans bringing over people to build this Hyundai plant in order to set it up and get Americans to come and learn how to set up these Hyundai parts. Yeah, she's made a fool of herself. Over $300 billion was invested to bring South Koreans over, build up this Hyundai plant so that they can open up jobs to Americans to come in and learn from these South Koreans in order to build jobs, manufacturing, and all that for Americans. And she called ICE and got them detained and shackled. South Korea had to come and tell our government to unshackle their workers, who, mind you, again, they were on visas. They had work visas to be over here. South Korea told America, unshackle them. We're sending a charter plane. I know they like to say, oh, we sent a charter plane to bring them back to South Korea. No, South Korea sent that charter plane, not America. This is why I say racism is it's just so, you can't do nothing but laugh at racism. Because this lady, I think her name is like Tori Bonyuni or something like that, Runied. This lady has nothing tied to this Georgia plant, nothing tied to the car industry, nothing tied to any manufacturing industry ever. So my question is, and it's always the case, I swear to you, this is always the case when stuff like this happens. It's always by somebody that has no ties to any type of job. Their job isn't even related to the manufacturing. So why do you care? Why did she feel so obligated enough to go out of her way and do this? She has since then deleted her account. She tried to make multiple videos accounting or trying to back up like she didn't do it. She said in a video, well, it wasn't actually me who called ICE. You came on this internet and made this video for what? I don't know. Did you expect people to rally behind you? Because it was the dumbest decision and it cost America billions of dollars. And again, she had zero ties to this. I doubt she knew anyone who even wanted to be in that manufacturing position. In fact, even if she claims she did, and if anyone claims that we were waiting on jobs, you couldn't even work the job because you don't have the knowledge or information on how to build this plant. So South Korea responded. They said that they're not doing it. South Korea said that they're done. If y'all don't know, the people in South Korea, they're protesting this. They're telling South Korea to not bring these people back. Billions of dollars is going down the drain for America. Over 8,000 jobs are gone now, all because of the decisions of one person. And she came on the internet and thought that she did the right thing. She did not think that this was the case. She thought that she was detaining other immigrants, the bad ones. It's crazy, man. The stuff that we have to deal with, the stuff that we have to go through for the next 3 years, it's still the first year. We haven't even gone through a whole year. Y'all stay positive though, man. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.
Hey, breaking the news. Donald Trump's on another world tour. First it was in the Middle East, now he's on a tour in Asia. Right now, currently, as we speak, he is either meeting or has met already with the Japanese emperor. The Japanese emperor told the media in Japan, if they shout in the presence of the emperor, meaning if they shout shit at Donald Trump and he's in the presence of the emperor, it is assault. They had to warn their people to not yell anything while the emperor is present because it could be considered assault. Not only that, there is mass demonstrations of anti-Trump protests in South Korea when he gets there. So there's that. I'll keep you updated with more.
The majority of people in South Korea at one point were pro-Trump, but that all changed last month, and Donald Trump is on his way to Korea this week. And, well, the people, they don't want him here. These photos come from a mutual of mine, Yes in My Backyard, tagged below. Let's see what they're doing over there. Yesterday, an anti-Trump protest took place in the streets, and this is just a portion of it. You can see the photos. Trump has no place at APEC, no to Trump's visit. This is robbery, not negotiation. And still going through the protest, same thing. Also, that little robber guy, I love it, chef's kiss. And then across the rest of the city and everywhere else that Donald Trump is going to be visiting are these signs. Now, this has been translated from Korean to English for us, but you see $350 billion rejected investment in U.S. The people of Korea's economic sovereignty will protect you. Now, we know Donald Trump's second term is substantially different than his first term, and people, obviously, anywhere that he's gone this time in the world, with the exception of the Middle East, have held protests against him.
We have some major news right now that most media companies aren't talking about, and that's anti-Trump protests have broken out across Seoul, South Korea, and are scheduled to occur over the next week as Donald Trump is in East Asia for the major APEC summit. South Korean authorities are actually ramping up security as there are over 12 anti-Trump protests planned this week because of Donald Trump's tariffs. A total of 16 protest notifications have been filed by 13 separate organizations for the APEC Economic Leaders Week. And the organizing committee for the International People's Response Against APEC 2025, consisting of about 35 left-leaning political parties, are planning to hold massive rallies and press conferences in Seoul and other parts of South Korea on Wednesday and Friday as flagship events. Quote, "The whole world is unable to respond to Trump's ruthless tariff war and is being defeated one by one. We will march in international solidarity demonstration, chanting slogans such as anti-Trump." That's a quote from these organizers. Most media is not covering it. I will subscribe to support my work. Link in bio at my Substack. Follow along.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. The video you just watched here, it is a good news, absolutely a good news, because Trump is finally receiving the reaction he's supposed to get from the whole world, not just from South Korea only. Much respect to the South Korean citizens. I like the fact that South Koreans do not allow anyone to disrespect them or insult their dignity. You know, the disrespect to the Hyundai employees was despicable. And this is the time for the world to unite against evil and corruption that has been happening. These are my opinion. Drop your opinion in the comment section. Like this video, subscribe to the channel to support the channel. Share this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.